alien invasion. Is it biblical? Of course it is.
Clearly, I'm not here today as a fact witness.
You can Google it.
I think you just use the Bible, do whatever the hell you like.
Just remember, it's not a lie if you believe it.
Welcome to Mystery Bible Theater 3000. My name is Caleb Haig. With me, my lovely assistant, Rob Vanhoff. Today we have an interesting one. I don't know. The funny thing about this is that I see this as extremely wackadoo. However, I think that most people I think there's a person who believes and pushes this in pretty much every Messianic and or Hebrew roots congregation in the United States. So I don't know how wackadoo it actually. That's okay. That's okay. This is right up there with I don't know. Yeah, here's the thing: is that I think essential oils are great, right? And I think smelling some essential oils from time to time is beneficial. However, and this is not what the video is about, but I put there's always the person at the Hebrew roots or the Messianic congregation that's trying to sell you their essential oil kit. You know what I mean? And usually they're up there with a little bit of the wackadoo. They've gone beyond let's smell a little peppermint, to clear the sinuses, or a little lavender to relax you, to straight up let's get there's an essential oil for that. If you just rub this on your temples, then it's gonna cure cancer, that kind of stuff. So, anyway, how you been, Rob? How's it going, man?
I'm doing well. It reminded me there's an app for that.
Exactly. There's an essential oil for that. And I'm sorry for those who are into essential oils. Don't get me wrong. I actually we have some essential oils in the cabinet, so
they're very nice.
They're very nice. It's very nice. But we're not on the essential oil train. We're not selling essential oils to everyone who comes over. It's kind of like being a vegan, right? That a person is selling essential oils as soon as you meet them because they're going to tell you, just like being a vegan, right? If they're a vegan, it within the first 10 seconds. Anyway, okay. And hey, you know what? I'll put myself in the same category. People do jujitsu in the first 10 seconds because that's all they're going to talk about, right? It's what we do. All right. If you have a wackadoo video, please send it in to us, chag@torahresource.com. We're getting a lot of videos. Some of them are usable and are great, just like the one today. Some of them, I don't know. I'm wading through, just trying to figure out, if they're worth it or not. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, keep sending them in. Love it. We got plenty to go, but we need more. So I'm looking at you, Stephanie. Stephanie's the one who sends us the most videos. And I always wonder what in the world she does with her day that she's watching all these videos. But you know what? It's benefiting us. So, hey, love it. Okay, let's kick over to the Mystery Bible Theater 3000 wackadoo view. And let's just get going with this.
Frequency is a universal language. It's like the foundation.
Hang on, let's go back. So whoever...
I'm not hearing anything.
You're not hearing anything. Hang on just a sec. Whoever clipped this, by the way. Why aren't you hearing anything? Whoever clipped this, by the way. Let's turn that on. Oh, to Skype. Whoever clipped this, by the way, clipped off the very first half of a sentence. Let's see if Rob can hear this now. And the very first half of the sentence is frequency.
Frequency is a universal language. It's like the foundation of how everything works in the universe. Like in the Bible, for example, there's many instances where they talk about frequency. One major one is when Aaron was assigned to be the great priest of the people at that time. Before he could enter the Holy of Holies, or the most sacred part of the temple that was built at that time, he had to put on special stones. And he had to wear this breastplate made of some specific stones. And then apparently God told him exactly what stones to use to put onto his chest as a way to protect him when he was going into the Holy of Holies. If you go too close to the Ark of the Covenant, it will basically fry your immune system or fry your nervous system.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Okay, can I just give you my initial response? First of all, there's no temple when Aaron was a priest.
I know.
Aaron wasn't told anything. Moses was. And when you go on Day of Atonement, you don't wear what's called the Hoshen Mishpat.
I know. Okay, so
So if this guy just read Exodus, he would stop thinking these thoughts.
I'm going to tell you this. I don't know if this guy is a believer or not. I just don't know. He
certainly does not care enough about
the Bible,
about God,
right?
To actually invest and say, you know what, I should probably give my best effort,
right,
to represent it. He's more into himself and making the point he wants to make for his own, his own thing that he's pushing, and then he's just grabbing stuff off the ground that's been trampled, that's not even true, to try to. But I wonder how many people are going, oh, that's in the Bible.
Here's
He's
the
right.
thing.
He's so studied.
Once again, the reason I said that okay, there's so much here. First of all, everything that you said is right. The guy is biblically illiterate, at least in the book of Exodus. He's
dangerous. It's like a kid with a shotgun, man.
Okay, but here's the thing: is that this is so. I don't know how much you deal with stuff like this, but I get emails. Not a lot, but I would say semi-frequently, of people talking about how, like, oh, well, the reason that we don't mix linen and wool is because it puts off a bad frequency that actually harms the body. Or the reason that we don't eat the unkosher food is because they give off frequency.
Exactly. There's another aspect to this. Can I just interject?
Of course.
And Caleb, you're going to understand this because you understand music, you understand audio engineering and video and audio signal.
Some people would disagree with all of that, but okay.
Frequency is different than modulation.
Right.
Frequency is just a carrier wave, right? A frequency is so many, and we usually use capital HZ, hertz, cycles per second. It's just how many times the medium vibrates per second, right?
Right.
But there's no information in just frequency. Now there could be color or something in visual or audio. It's going to be like a pitch. Like normally in today's orchestras, they will tune to A440 most often. That means 440 hertz gives you the beep, the pitch. Okay. The frequency is innocent, and it's just a signal or a bass tone, or it could be a color in the visual spectrum. But that's not information. The information that would be like a tuning into a radio station, like in old school in our cars, you'd have to turn the dial to like AM, 610 or whatever, and then that's your basic frequency. Then they modulate that, and that's where the signal is. And so you could be listening to a worship music, or it could be like some satanic death metal band. But the frequencies in both cases have nothing to do with the information. The information of whether it's someone reading from the Psalms or someone reading from,
the Book of Satan.
Book of Satan is not an element of frequency. It's an element of modulation of the carrier wave frequency. So this guy's language in terms of physics isn't even correct. Now people start thinking, oh, it's the frequency. No, that's I call BS on that.
Bad
too.
Scholarship. My boy is wicked smart. I gotta get that.
Okay,
I gotta get it.
So
here's the point, though, is that I've heard everything that you've said so far, truth, right? However, I think that there is this this idea. I'm making myself a note right now, by the way, to grab that clip. Wicked smat.
Wicked smat.
But I think that we get this a lot. So let's just break this down to the spoon to spoon feed it. Okay, let's spoon feed this for a second. I think that where this comes from ultimately is a mixing and I think we could probably trace this, but I don't have hard evidence on this. But I would say that this comes from a mixing of New Age spiritualism, which ultimately it comes from Eastern religion, right? And we get this, for instance, like Tibet, and before I was a believer, I dabbled in a lot of this stuff. I have a story, by the way. My wife and I, we remember this very vividly. We went to a festival one time. This is before we were walking with the Lord. We went to a festival one time, and there was a station. Keep in mind, this festival's in the middle of the woods, right? And there's this station that these hippies have set up, and the dude's like, "Hey, man, come and lay down right here and close your eyes." I'm like, okay. So I do so. And he has like all these, like bells and these, he's like rubbing the bowl to get these different frequencies, right? And all this kind of stuff. He's like, and so before I get in, he tells me, this is sound therapy, man. It's sound, you're gonna feel amazing after this. So I get up after, 3 minutes or whatever of nonsense sound. And the guy's like, "How do you feel, brother?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, that's great." Afterwards, Lakeisha, my wife and I, we both were just like, "I didn't feel any different. This is total nonsense. These guys are peddling some, they have tricked themselves into believing." But ultimately, this is the same kind of thing that has come in, right? You have, and I think we could probably trace it from Eastern religion to New Ageism into the charismatic movement, right? Then the charismatic movement into more mainstream Christianity, and ultimately the Hebrew roots movement and Messianic Judaism, which would say, and the Messianic Judaism is not only highly influenced by the Hebrew roots movement from time to time, but also highly influenced, I would say, from Jewish mysticism. And Jewish mysticism is also pulling from Eastern religion. And so what you have is this idea of, rocks like crystals, like his idea of the breastplate that the priests wear is giving off frequency. It's the exact same kind of thing that we see in the Eastern religions. If you have this crystal, it's going to give off this frequency, man.
And that he's going to get fried.
Yeah.
In other words, it's a protective
right. It's going to
insulator against his body getting fried when he goes into the Holy of Holies. Well, if that was the case, then the Torah would have the high priest going into the Holy of Holies wearing that. But rather, no, he goes in with
linen on.
Linen. That's it.
But people who ascribe to this nonsense are going to say, "Yeah, man, but the linen has its own frequency. And that's why this guy has it wrong. The priest is wearing the linen and only the linen because he's too close to the ark, man. And that's what you need. That's the frequency you need." And the thing is no, this is total nonsense. God is the protector. God, and let me tell you something. If God was so worried about all these frequencies, he would tell us, "Hey, there's all these frequencies. So look out for this, this, and this." He doesn't do that. Instead, he gives us laws about the natural world.
The basic frequency is 6 days, and then the seventh day is the Shabbat.
Yes.
That's every seventh day Shabbat. That's the frequency.
Once again, my boy is wicked smart. All right.
Wow. But in terms of back to this clip, you don't know about what the personal guy's
this was
but is the context that of a New Age Christianity kind of thing, or what did you gather?
I mean, I have no clue, but I assume the thing is that there was no context and I didn't do a deep dive. I actually the very first time I saw this video was about a half an hour before we came on air. So I don't know. And normally what I try to do is I try to find out a little bit more, but this hits me right in the I can't stand it. And what I mean by that is, once again, we go to my wife and I, we go to a lot of these various groups, and we visited a group 2 weeks ago, and we had a lovely time. It's not like it's all bad or anything like that. There are wonderful people at every group that we go to. There are wonderful people that we think to ourselves, "Man, I wish these people were in our lives, like more." And so I'm not saying that, but there is always, especially in the Torah movement at large, there is always at every group, there's these kind of fringe outlier people that everybody's like, "Oh, I hope that the guests don't talk to this person first, because we don't want this to be the front." And not that they're bad people or that they, but theologically they have ideas that are just a little,
Well, here's one I came across in a book before that I'm reminded of with this video clip was a gal she was into this different kinds of new age healings or whatever. And she would make these I think they were tuning forks. I didn't physically see this. I read it in a book, and she was talking about how she took the gematria of the name of God, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, 26, and made a 26 hertz. I don't know if it was a bell or a rod or a tuning fork kind of thing, but the idea that she was saying this is a healing frequency, right? Because the 26 was magically representative of the divine name of God. What was funny, though, the book I was reading was the second edition. And then there was a little thing that says, yeah, we've stopped making this one because we found other things work better. So it just undermined its own claim. But the idea, but that's out there. For some reason, people there's such a starvation or malnutrition of the true word of God, right? That people will hear an idea like this clip, or the idea of like, buy this tuning pitch because it is 26 hertz precisely. We made it, and it reflects the gematria of the name of God, and therefore this is a healing like tool for your life. I think people hear that and they go, "Oh, I'll buy that."
You know what though? I think that I agree with you. I think a lot of it though is experience, and what I mean by that is, so many people want various experiences that they have to manufacture them. And I'll tell you this.
Well, I would say this: people need healing. There's I agree. In the Gospels, the gal she had an issue of blood for 12 years or 18 years. I mean, and she had spent all her money on like different healers. So people have need.
I agree with you completely.
They're going to the wrong.
But here's the thing: is that people manufacture it, and the God has made the human mind and the human brain very powerful. The placebo effect is extremely strong, enough that it can actually help people, right?
Oh yeah,
and we know this.
That this is important. Yeah, belief in
this happens to me too. Look, I take ashwagandha it's a herb, it's a root, right? I take that as a de-stressing, to de-stress. And I've read a lot of studies on this, right? A lot of studies on ashwagandha and its effectiveness.
Is that like a root?
Yeah.
I think I've had tea of that before. Right. Or something. Anyway, sorry.
No, it's fine. And the studies that I've read have and they've done legitimate clinical trials with ashwagandha. And they admit, there is a placebo effect for people. But once ashwagandha builds up, if you continue to take it, it actually has significant benefits. But I know that there's placebo effect in it for me because I will take it sometimes and I will think to myself, I know this is going to calm me down, and it'll calm me down. Other times, it won't do anything, which tells me that, part of it is in my mind. Which is fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that as long as it works, right? So anyway, I think that people are desperately looking for an experience, and they are manufacturing it. And the means by which they are manufacturing it, oftentimes, is their frequencies, their crystals, and their essential oils. All right. I think that's it for us today. We will join us on Wednesday. We'll be doing another show. And if you want to, you should send us an email with your wackadoo. chegg@torahresource.com, CHEGG at torahresource.com. Try to keep it around 5 minutes or less so that we can clip it. And have no clue what we're going to talk about on Wednesday. But we hope that you'll join us for it. Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Otherwise, we'll see you next Friday. Have a good day, guys.